Are you considering taking the leap from part-time to full-time shop owner? It's exciting to think about breaking the chains that might be holding you back, gaining freedom, control, empowerment. But here are some things that you definitely want to consider first. What is up? I'm Gordon from Marmalade.
I'm Richie from Marmalade.
What are we talking about today on the Jam, Richie?
All right, today we are going to talk about a very important topic. We are going to talk about leaving your job for Etsy. So basically leaving that day job and going full-time with your Etsy shop.
Yeah, that's an exciting place to be at in your life. It could be a huge change for somebody who has historically always had an office job or a day job that you go to work at. It's exciting. It could be a little nerve-wracking. And so there's some steps you can take to plan ahead and make sure that transition is as smooth as possible, right?
Absolutely. So the big problem is when you have a steady day job, right, it might not be near as fun as your Etsy shop, but together they pay the bills and it's a lot to juggle. So as your shop is growing, as you're starting to get to that I can do this for a living stage, it's going to start to pull, both of them are probably pulling on you more than you want, especially when you have family and other things going on.
Yep.
And you can only grow so much before you either run out of time or sanity. So of course the question is, how do you make a smooth transition to Etsy full time?
Yeah, without not having enough time or sanity.
Exactly. We want to maintain both of that for you.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's a good point. And we've got 5 kind of separate tips here for you to go through to kind of help you through that process and things to think about when you're ready to make that jump.
You might wonder, oh, where'd you come up with this stuff? Well, we've talked to many sellers that have left an otherwise good career to follow their passion on Etsy. And yes, these are happy stories. Your own situation will, of course, guide the path best for you, your savings, whether you're dual or single income household, your overall risk tolerance, and we got some suggestions to consider for you. This, of course, is not financial advice because we're neither financial advisors nor lawyers, but, this is good tips nonetheless.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the first things you should be keeping in mind when you're ready to make this leap is that, at your day job, you're probably in a position where you get a pretty regular salary coming in. You're getting a paycheck every week, every couple weeks. It's going to be about the same dollar amount. It's not necessarily the same with your Etsy shop. If you haven't been on Etsy for a full year yet, you might not realize that Etsy is pretty seasonal. Shops are going to be seasonal across the board. There might be different seasons for different shops, but you're going to go through times where you're going to have more sales during the year and then less sales. And so that's something you really need to keep in mind, is that your income is going to fluctuate a lot more in all likelihood when you're relying on your Etsy income than just using your day job income.
If your day job is something in sales that's seasonal, you might already be used to that. So number 2, financial advice folks recommend having 6 months of living expenses set aside just in case. And that's no matter what you're doing, whether you're working for yourself or working for a day job. So really what we consider a steady job isn't as safe as we like to think. Having a cushion when you go full time will make you feel less pressure though during those ups and downs we just talked about with seasonality.
The third thing to think about is that if you can, and it's possible for you to kind of scale back on how much work and time you're devoting to your day job and scale up the amount of time you're devoting to your Etsy shop, that's a fantastic way to kind of smooth out that transition. Now, this isn't always an option available to everybody, but if you do have control over your hours at your day job, that could be a really good way to help smooth out that transition and kind of shift more of your time and your focus away from your day job gradually and towards your Etsy shop.
Yes, and to plug one of our prior episodes, Carly from Pendant Place Store told us how she was working in the gig economy. She was able to scale back on the gigs while growing her shop, and within 3 months of taking her shop seriously, she was full-time.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And if you haven't heard that story, definitely go back and check that one out. It's very inspirational.
Absolutely. And it was very real. It wasn't all, it wasn't all sugar and spice, right? She talked about what really went through her head, and she talked about how the first 2 attempts earlier on before she took it seriously didn't work out. So, it's just overall, like you said, very inspirational story. Highly recommend it and very relevant for this episode.
Absolutely.
I want to take a moment to thank you for tuning into the Jam by Marmalade. Marmalade helps guide you to keywords that real Etsy shoppers are using, so you can get more sales doing what you love. Check out Marmalade in the link in the description or at marmalead.com.
So tip 4 is if you don't have the ability to scale back your day job, don't worry, we've still got something for you. How do we handle that one, Richie?
All right, so if your day job isn't something you can scale back, do everything you can to make close to the same money in your shop as you do in your day job. So this could mean a combination of working a lot, which of course is going to encroach on that time and sanity, but let's hope it's not for a long time. And you can also get creative and hire some help temporarily from friends and family for things you can, like packaging and shipping help, which is something that a lot of sellers do during the holiday rush anyway, because that's how they handle the seasonality. But very important there. I would definitely add those costs back into your profit for our purposes here, since they're a temporary thing. Like if you're not planning on keeping that level of help around once you go full time and you'll take on those responsibilities, you can add that, what you spent on them, back into that profit to make it more like your day job.
And tip number 5 is to do it, to take the leap, to just take that leap of faith and just cut loose and give it a chance. Eventually, you're going to get to a point where you're going to need to do this anyway. And it's not always easy. If you're not historically very entrepreneurial and you're very used to the day job, it could cause some anxiety. But man, once you make that leap, so many sellers have told us that they're so happy that they did, and they're in a much better spot now. It's just something you kind of have to do at one point. You're going to have to make that jump.
And really, if you have a plan and you work that plan, you should feel good about at that time make the decision, because it's not something that's impulsive, right? We don't want you to make an impulsive decision overnight. Don't listen to this and then the next morning be like, and I'm leaving and this is my plan, right? Make your plan, work your plan. When you get to that point in your plan, hey, that plan says this is the time to do it. So life's an adventure. If you've made it far enough that you can see Etsy being your full time, you've worked to that plan, do it.
And let us know how it goes.
Yes.
So there you guys go. There's 5 solid tips for you guys to consider when you are considering making the move to full-timing your Etsy shop, which is an awesome place to be. A lot of freedom, a lot of excitement, a lot of ups and downs too. We're not going to lie to you about that one. But if you consider these 5 things, you're going to be set up pretty well when you're ready to make that change in your life. And we wish you all of the best. We'll see you guys next time on The Jam.